If you haven't subscribed our channel, click on subscribe button to get subscribed and click on bell button to get notified for all videos.
Hello guys, welcome in Geekiesys, and today in video I am going to show you the new Samsung Galaxy S8 specs, features and more. The Samsung Galaxy S8 is the nicest phone I've ever held. It's a beautiful combination of glass, metal, and an absolutely massive screen in a body that's much smaller than you might expect. And that might not be enough to make it stand out anymore. There are two versions of the S8. The standard Galaxy S8 with a 5.8-inch screen and the larger S8 Plus with a 6.2-inch screen. Both are available for pre-order on March 30th and will be shipping in the US on April 21st. Pricing, as always with Samsung, is up to the carriers, but you can expect them to command a premium price. The early word is that it will start at $720. Holding the S8, I'm struck by the fact that nothing about it feels especially surprising, and not just because damn near everything about it has been leaking for the past few months. The boldest feature is every phone's more important feature, the screen. On the S8, it extends up and down to cover nearly the entire front of the phone. It also curves around the left and right, something Samsung is calling the infinity display, which gives it the look of not having any bezels at all. And speaking of curves, the four corners of the screen are also slightly curved instead of squared off, which adds some elegance and perhaps some screen durability. The S8 and S8 Plus fulfill Samsung's promise of fitting a big screen in a smaller body, and so they're quite a bit more usable than other large-screened phones. I didn't experience some of the accidental touch issues that I still get with the Galaxy S7 Edge. But I also only had about an hour with the phone, so it's possible that it could still be an issue. More than anything else, the S8 is nice. It may seem like table stakes in 2017, but these phones are incredibly well designed. There are no seams, only the barest of camera bumps, and everything seems milled down to sub-millimeter tolerances. They feel inevitable in a way that almost becomes boring. Many of the design touches are evolutions of the S7 Edge and Note 7, but refined to their platonic ideals. Extending the screen to near the bottom of the phone means that there's no room for Samsung's traditional hardware home button. Instead, it uses software buttons like other Android phones. It also uses some haptic feedback like Apple's iPhones to create a virtual feeling of pressing a home button, though it only works on the very specific spot where the software home button appears. One neat feature: some Android apps hide those main Android buttons when they go full screen, but you can still firmly press the bottom of the screen to activate the home button. Getting rid of the physical home button also means that Samsung had to move the fingerprint sensor. It's on the back now, right next to the camera. That's not a very convenient place for it, honestly. It's too high up on the phone to comfortably reach, and it's also right next to the camera module, which might mean you'll be getting fingerprints on the camera more often than you'd like. Speaking of fingerprints, because the S8 is nearly all glass, you'll see them on the back a lot, but they're not as prominent as you might expect. They're worse on the LG G6, for example. Both the USB-C port and the 3.5mm headphone jack, hallelujah, are located on the bottom of the phone. You have power on one side and volume button on the other, underneath which you'll find a whole new button that's dedicated to the big new software feature on the Galaxy S8, Bixby. There's much more on Bixby below, but for now I'll just note that dedicating a hardware button to this software feature is a big bet on Samsung's intelligent assistant. If Bixby ends up being not that great, I expect many people will be looking for ways to remap that extra hardware button, or decrying that it's vestigial. As you'd expect, the S8 has the best specs you can get on an Android phone. Depending on the region, you'll either get Qualcomm's newest, and slightly rarer, Snapdragon 835 or Samsung's own Exynos. In both cases, Samsung is touting that they're built on a 10nm chip, which should theoretically help with power consumption. In my brief time with it, everything was whip fast. Hopefully it will stay that way over time. Samsung phones often don't. The standard S8 has a 570p 5.8-inch screen, with a resolution of 2960 by 1440. The S8 Plus has the exact same resolution on its 6.2-inch screen, which works out to 529p. For my money, the standard S8 is the way to go. It still feels like a massive screen and the body is significantly smaller. The height of the screen is interesting, too. The aspect ratio is a super tall 18.5:9, which adds a bunch of screen real estate to scroll through. I didn't get to test a bunch of third-party apps, so hopefully we won't see too much weirdness with the new aspect ratio. Even if we do, Galaxy phones are popular enough to prod developers to update their apps to support it. In terms of other specs, it's pretty bog standard stuff: 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of onboard storage, and an expandable SD card slot. Processor: US, Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 octa-core, 2.35 GHz quad plus 1.7 GHz quad. International: Samsung Exynos octa-core, 2.35 GHz quad plus 1.9 GHz quad. Display: Galaxy S8, 5.8-inch OLED, 2960 by 1440, 570p. Galaxy S8 Plus, 6.2-inch OLED, 2960 by 1440, 529p. Cameras: rear, 12-megapixel, OIS, f1.7. Front, 8-megapixel, autofocus, f1.7. Batteries: Galaxy S8, 3000 mAh. Galaxy S8 Plus, 3500 mAh. Dimensions: Galaxy S8, 148.9 by 68.1 by 8 mm, 155 grams. Galaxy S8 Plus, 159.5 by 73.4 by 8.1 mm, 173 grams. Other specs: Android 7.0 Nougat. USB-C, 3.5 mm headphone jack. NFC and MST for Samsung Pay. IP68 water and dust resistant. Wireless charging. LTE Cat.16. Bluetooth 5.0, can stream to 2 devices. Wi-Fi A/B/G/NAC. Another place where Samsung hasn't really pushed the envelope is the camera. The S8 uses the exact same rear camera as the Galaxy S7, a 12-megapixel sensor with OIS. Samsung says it's done work on the software side to improve picture quality, and in my short time with it I found it to be significantly faster than the camera on the Galaxy S7 Edge. It is notable that the S8 Plus doesn't get a better camera or a dual camera setup. Excepting screen and battery size, both phones are identical. I suspect it's using the take pictures all the time in the background and just save them when you hit the shutter button trick we've seen on other phones. It also borrows another trick from other Android phones. The shortcut to launch it is double pressing the power button now, since the home button is virtual. The front-facing camera, aka the one you really care about, has gotten an upgrade. It's an 8-megapixel sensor now, but more importantly it has autofocus. Switching between cameras was fast and easy, as was swiping over to get to Samsung's kajillion photo gimmick settings. But some of those gimmicks are pretty neat. I'm especially fond of the GIF mode, though I do wish it was just automatic like you can do with Apple's Live Photos and the Motion Stills app. In any case, the competition for the best smartphone camera is way more interesting now than it was a year ago, when just Samsung and Apple were at the top. Now, Apple and LG are sticking multiple cameras in their phones while Google's Pixel has jumped to the top of the Android camera quality game. It's too early to say that Samsung is resting on its photography laurels with the S8, but it is fair to say that there's probably nothing here that will give other companies reason to worry. That Samsung is capable of making great hardware should come as no surprise to anybody. It's the software where we have reason to be skeptical. Running all the way back to the bad old days of TouchWiz, Samsung has a well-earned reputation for taking Android and mucking it up with bad ideas. For the past few years, though, the common refrain has been restraint, and I'm going to repeat it again today. Samsung has done a pretty good job keeping its worst instincts in check. There are a ton of weird features to find in the dark recesses of the settings menu, but out of the box the basic look, feel, and functionality of Samsung's Android